My Lord and my God, I firmly believe that you are here, that you see me, that you hear me. I adore you with profound reverence. I ask your pardon for my sins and the grace to make this time of prayer fruitful. My Immaculate Mother, Saint Joseph, my Father and Lord, my guardian angel, intercede for me. There was a debate among the Pharisees about marriage. The debate was whether it was really legitimate to divorce. And it seems like such a sacred thing that it should indeed be a commitment for life. Yet Moses had indeed permitted divorce in Deuteronomy 24. So if a woman was, it's true, it was written there, if she was displeasing to a man, well, he could just hand her a bill of divorce, and that text would simply state that she was free to marry someone else. So in front of this, they asked Jesus about this, and Jesus, in response, referred to a much earlier text, Genesis 2, which said, "So then they are no longer two, but one flesh. Therefore what God has joined together, let no man separate." God has joined a couple in marriage. This is not merely a human invention. It's not merely their own decision to come together. There's really something that God has done. It's a divine action, a supernatural grace that brings about this wonderful bond. And so Moses had indeed allowed a kind of more relaxed view of divorce, like he permitted it. But Jesus unequivocally says that this was due to the hardness of their hearts. Moses had to deal with men that had indeed hard hearts. They were unforgiving, they were demanding, they were judgmental, unable to take the heroic leap of sacrifice for the sake of the other. I've heard it said that Moses allowed this bill of divorce because if he had not, maybe even worse things would have ended up happening to the woman. And indeed, in some cultures, they might even have been killed. So, to free her up, instead of her getting killed, give her the bill of divorce. So, it's clear, divorce was never a command. It was just, permitted, but it was never really a divine sanction. It was just, tolerated. God tolerated it, you could say. Like he might tolerate some wicked behavior of some kind in the world's population throughout history. He kind of puts up with it. Right? And so Jesus now in today's gospel really is bringing us back to the original plan of God for marriage. Right? And this is what was the plan for the beginning of the human race, for man and woman, that they remain married with each other for life. And he invites us now to reflect on this marvelous and life-changing adventure which is marriage. I know it's a great challenge, and indeed Jesus' words are an encouragement for couples to remain faithful, to live out that beautiful ideal of fidelity, of gift of themselves to one to the other. And clearly the Lord is taking this partnership, this lifelong commitment and this communion, very seriously. And the church has responded to these serious words by underlining the fact that marriage is a divine vocation. It's a divine vocation to sanctity. Like any vocation, it requires preparation. I would say that today there is a kind of a crisis in individual and collective meanings to this vocation. How people understand this vocation to marriage. There's a kind of a crisis. And the result is that people don't really prepare or ready themselves for this vocation. You can get a driver's license, you can go through the theoretical, you can do a practical test that is required, and people study and practice to get this test right so they can get their driver's license. Or pilots, imagine, a pilot's going to fly a plane. He has to do serious training, he has to get his flying license. Yet people don't think it is all that necessary to do this for the future of their own family. Maybe they prepare for the reception, they make a list of invitations, they buy special clothes and all that preparation. Okay, yeah, they do all those external things, and these things definitely stress people out. And they are necessary preparations for a marriage, of course. Okay? But that stress, I could say, all that preparation must really be a reflection of their internal preparation that they make for this lifelong commitment. And, well, we know the church requires marriage prep courses, explanations about the practical aspects. Sometimes they talk about, natural family planning and how to deal with in-laws, and, I don't know what the readings you're going to use for the. I mean, they just talk about, the meaning of marriage. But the hardness of heart that our Lord speaks about can already start its process of sclerosis if we don't imbibe deeply within ourselves the understanding that this is my divine vocation. Okay, it's not my divine vocation. I have a different vocation as a priest, but it's you who are married. It's a divine vocation. And we have to have this conviction that I will sanctify myself and others through the challenges of this divine vocation. And, I often have to underline to people that this divine vocation will not be easy. And, they hear that and they say, they agree, they nod very politely, and I presume they trust in God when they hear that. But, many people just wait for a crisis before reacting. And very often, by the time the crisis arrives in a marriage, it's like too late. Sclerosis has set in to their hearts. It's like, when you're driving and this curious red light, it's this curious yellow light. At least in my car, it's a yellow light that turns on the dashboard, telling you to pull over because you're low on gas. And if you don't get gas now, this car will not continue, and your ride will be over. So you find a gas station, anytime as fast as you can. Right? And this gas for us, for you in marriage, is the ongoing formation in marriage. Right? And the commitment not only to ongoing formation, but to renew your love in this divine vocation, your love in this marriage. To put a new shine on it every day, to polish your shoes, to change your tie, to get some new and expensive perfume. Chanel No. 5 is amazing. And there's a need to update your phone. Otherwise, you know how it is. It slows down and doesn't work well, and all these apps don't work. And it's the same in marriage. You can't just rely on the initial enthusiasm that accompanied you when you changed your life status. So let us ask the Holy Family to help you keep your vocation always vibrant, always renewed with the energy of love. And when the children start coming around, they can monopolize one's attention, but your spouse will still be there in need of attention. I mean, the yellow light is still on. And you can pull over by having a regular date night. Pull over, that's a refresher kind of thing. To serve each other with that love. People enjoy reading self-help books, counseling, or meetings with a priest to see how to improve. And I've heard people refer to they call it the BPS, the best possible self. That drive to keep alive your best possible self requires a knowledge of yourself, solid willpower, life goals, and good-humored passion. And it's the same with marriage. It's maybe not BPS, it's BPM, best possible marriage, right? So, it requires knowledge, right? And knowledge doesn't come by chance. You have to find the time to read, to examine things about your relationship, right? To focus on what makes your spouse tick. Stay clear of that idiot box, the YouTube, the hours lost online in silly things. Okay? Knowledge, that's the first thing. Then willpower. Don't forget that your best possible self emerges when you focus on your abilities, working them out for the best possible outcome. Learn to give everything. Don't give 80%. Don't give 85%. Give 100%. And a person with willpower has to have a long view of life. And they can set concrete goals and take risks to achieve those really concrete goals. Set goals, have a plan for this marriage, for this becoming the best possible marriage. And goals, well, they're long-term. Objectives are short-term. It was Seneca, the younger, who said, There is no favorable wind for the sailor who doesn't know where to go. We need to know where to go with this marriage. A person who doesn't have a plan is at the mercy of the moment. He or she reacts according to impulses, emotions, or feelings, all of which, especially in our society, are extremely malleable. So let's ask the Holy Family to give us that drive, that spunk, that optimism, so that this marriage can really be something that will last for the rest of your life. I thank you, my God, for the good resolutions, affections, and inspirations you've communicated to me in this meditation. I ask you help to put them into effect. My Immaculate Mother, Saint Joseph, my Father and Lord, my guardian angel, intercede for me.